The June 25th, 2019 Town Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Andy Schaefer.
Here.
Andy Key.
Here.
Trey Roby. Luke Gear.
Present.
Tyson Hacking. Matt Bogren. Lisa Granger.
Here.
Andy, would you mind giving the invocation, please?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us here today to handle this important business, and we ask for your guidance to make the best decisions possible for the improvement of this community and betterment of this community. We also ask that you look over those that fight for us to have these freedoms, and thank you for all the blessings you've given us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Lisa, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lisa. Item 5, Mita. Oh, welcome, Mr. Hacking. Will you please show Mr. Hacking as president and work? Ready to go? Item 5, discussion and action to approve the minutes of the June 11th, 2019 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 11, 2019 meeting.
Second.
Motion by Andy, second by Luke. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Petition and public input. Please state your name.
Hi, I'm Jeff Blue. I'm with the Rangeley Elks Lodge, number 1907. June 15th, we had our Brew Fest. I had Mr. Weber from the Rec Center write a letter regarding any concerns that he had that we could change and make better. So I'd like to read the letter that he typed for me. Dear Mr. LeBlue, first and foremost, I would like to commend the Rangeley Elks Club BPOE 1907 on a very smooth and successful event you ran this year for the Brew Fest. I have not heard of any complaints, and it seems as this event was very successful and smooth in its first year. People seem to be enjoying themselves, and people seem to be very responsible for their behavior. The Elks Club cleaned up after themselves and made sure that all involved had a ride home or got home responsible after the event was over. I look upon this event as a favorable one and hope that you build on your success and look forward to working with you again in the future. Tim Weber, Director of the Parks and Recs.
Cool. So thinking about that whole thing, Jeff, with the hill climb, it seemed like most of their people stay out there. So just from talking to a few people, does it seem like you got a lot of out-of-town people?
We did. We had some people from Germany that was staying down at the camper park. Mr. Rector went and picked them up in the DD bus. Other than that, for the hill climbers, we didn't get any. The reason why we set that date was because of the hill climb. So in the future, we will make sure to be around the road rally time. And I know a lot of them had to run on Sunday, so that was probably a key thing. The rally's over on Saturday night, so maybe that could be a draw.
Are you guys going to try to do it this year for the
No
rally?
more this year.
Huh?
No, we're not going to overextend our welcome on this. It'll probably be an annual, once a year thing.
Okay.
I think if you have too many in a year, you ruin it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all I was going to say about the hill climb.
There are other things we are doing. We're bringing comedians in July 27th, just to try to get some activity in town. So.
Great.
But one of the things that came to my attention, and I don't know what the solution is exactly, but it's something that we can ponder and help each other out with for next year. But like a lot of the families couldn't go, and they all wanted to take their kids and watch the concert and eat food and stuff.
And
but it's a
we're
really
already
tough
working
dynamic.
on that
Okay.
because when we first drew up the plans, we were going to put the breweries up against the fence.
Mm-hmm.
That protected any dummies trying to climb over the fence. That was protected. When we met with the three breweries, they wanted to be closer to the band, to be a part of the event, to say, instead of being way back there, the band way up here. So next year, we will fence off an area around the breweries so the kids can play the catering will be done in more of a family-friendly environment, so the kids can come and be a part of it.
Cool.
But for year one, we didn't want nobody that wasn't 21 walking through that gate.
Fair enough.
I mean, we don't want to get shot in the foot right off the get-go, so.
So are you gonna do like a beer garden area? For the
No, it's gonna be
breweries?
more of a food garden area.
Okay.
I mean, they can come in, the adults will go this way, kids will go that way, and it'll be monitored, will still be monitored just like they was an entrance gate. The kids can't come in to get mom and dad. We'll work it out, we'll draw it out where it's,
Sounds great.
because Ty asked me about the snow fence. I told him no one that's 21 or not 21 is not coming through the gate. Therefore, we didn't need the snow fence. Next year, we'll have to have something so the kids can. And we're going to try to have games back there for them and stuff for them to do. So.
Cool.
Awesome, sounds good.
But year one, you know, the crowd was a little bit smaller than we anticipated, but I thought it was about perfect for the first year because there was no. We could walk around and look, and it was. So it was a pretty good deal, really. So, and these breweries are wanting to come back, so we've enticed them. They get free golf, free camping, free rec center, so they're already. Well, and the reason why and that's another thing on the food part of it. We was competing with Country Jam. We had Famous Days, we had Red Robin, we had everybody, all these guys on our list to come up here, but they were at Country Jam. So Palisade, we reached out to Palisade for the wine, but it's too short of a notice to get them here. Once we get back to the lodge and sit down and pick a date with Connie that is going to be good for what event she's putting on, then, I mean, there's other avenues. We can put on, host a softball. Paul Fortunato could host a softball tournament. Something to keep these people in the park all day. And then in the evening, we will change the time a little bit. 5 o'clock was way too hot. I think if we bump it to 7, but that's stuff we'll talk about.
Sounds good.
But for sure, family is going to be more invited. You know, Tyson come in there to eat at the taco thing, and had to pay. He got me a hat, so I donated it. I gave it away. So already had mine. But, you know, there's some little things we can work out, but the majority of the things that we were worried about was people trying to get in that wasn't 21, and we had no problems. Even when everybody was cleaned up, the bands were loaded, people were not still allowed to take alcohol outside of that ball field. We stayed there until the lights were off. So, well, not lights were off, but everybody was gone. So,
Cool.
And that was key because we had a couple of people that wanted to go home and take their alcohol. And no, the drink here, pour it out. It worked out great.
Cool.
But it's gonna be more family friendly next year. So,
Excellent. Thanks
Cool.
for doing it.
yep.
Thank you. Any other public input? Changes to the agenda. We don't have any public hearings, committee and board meetings.
We had an RDA RDC meeting. Andy and Joyce participated by phone. The hospital presented their mill levy presentation. They'd also like to come and present to the town council sometime. And we just talked about some of the RDA RDC programs, or excuse me, USDA programs for loans and grants, and actually Sally Clark is the Colorado State Director, and also one of her co-workers are going to try and come up on July 9th and just talk to us about some of those things. And I actually talked to Nick about some ideas they had for the hospital. So if they don't, get communication via email, then I'll make sure that they go and visit with Nick directly on that day. But I'll invite Connie and a few of the RDA or DC board members that are involved in the loan processing. We're going to try and work more through committees as best we can. So they're going to come to Rangeley and visit with us. So I hope some good conversations come out of that. I don't know if there was any other committees or boards that met in between our last
I don't think we.
town council meeting.
Do we need to invite the hospital board and put it on our agenda?
Nick's going to get back with me when they'd like to present. He said possibly in August that he'll get back with me.
Okay.
I told him when our town council meetings were, and I said we'd probably try and advertise it more so it'd be more of a community meeting, not just the town council. So anybody that may have not had a chance to see that presentation would know they could come that evening and hear it as well.
Yeah. If we keep it within reason, I'm more than willing to have it. We got any reports from council? Supervisory report. Jeff, did you want to go first tonight?
Please. The reason why I'm jumping out of Cali is that my son's playing baseball right now, so I'd like to get back to his game. This is kind of a rerun when I jumped months, last meeting I was here. Daily duties that we're doing: utility locates, mowing lawns, cutting and spraying weeds, washing streets, cleaning gutters, miscellaneous work at White River Village, a little bit of work at the community garden, not much, fixing their water leaks. Everybody, I think for the whole town, has taken the CPR class. The senior citizen cleanup week has been done. The highway cleanup has been done. We're repairing sprinklers daily around our buildings and parks. Miscellaneous work at the police department side. Vehicle and equipment maintenance. We've been putting up and taking down the flags. We're going to leave them up until after the 4th, and then we are going to straighten them again every time we straighten them, the wind blows. So we'll be replacing the ones that need to be replaced. I know the one out here needs to be replaced. I'm sure y'all have seen the new street sweeper. It's out about every day unless weather is stopping us. But
We need to advertise the piles of dirt that Kent's depositing to.
Kent is so proud of that street sweeper. He has his wife take pictures of the dirt piles he's dumping. He's like a kid in a candy store, I'm telling you.
That's all right.
So, and then the White River
proud of
Village,
it.
this is by Janet. 2 tenants have been recertifications completed and submitted to the USDA. They've been weeding around the building and in the flower beds and planted flower pots with annual color. Planters were placed in the garden area for the residents to grow vegetables this summer. They've been mowing and spraying weeds in the front and along the road. Maintenance and cleaning is ongoing. Personal issues and events. The USDA performed an on-site annual inspection, and the liquor licensing, 1 license processed this month. One thing I will add to that, we have been abating and spraying mosquitoes as weather allows. If the wind's blowing, we're not spraying. So,
And Lanny called and said the lower district is going to have him spray, and tentatively I had heard a little bit of interest from Chevron, so I did put him in contact with Chevron, so maybe if he gets some of that work, he said that might really help us if they decide to spray. So,
So I was going to ask, does anybody know if they're spraying the lake before the 4th?
I think that they're saying the lake water is too cold at this time, so it's that the larva's not out there right now.
Okay.
and I
Or
did
it's
put
not-
Alden in contact with Lanny,
Yeah.
so I mean that's kind of his purview, but
And,
know
and
that's-
the water's
Yeah.
moving.
It's not necessarily our area, but if we can encourage them to, I think that would be.
I mean
They're spraying before the 4th. Did they tell you that?
Who is
The
the upper district
Yeah.
or the water conservancy?
No, I think the Wade Cox and their crew.
Okay, so that will help.
So do we need to piggyback with them or?
No, because we just did, and I mean, people get a little uptight if we aerial spray too close to that. Plus, after talking with Lanny, he said we would probably be more effective doing what Jeff is doing. And then he said he wanted to wait for the water to recede a little bit so we can kind of tell where the standing water is and not just do the fogging, but maybe do some of the bricks. So as soon as the water starts receding a little bit, he'll come down and do some flyovers with the public works guys, and we'll make a battle plan.
So I got a phone number from a guy over in that's the lead guy for the stuff over in Vernal, and I don't know what you're thinking about maybe getting him to come over and spend a day? Because they have like 11 people on their payroll, and evidently their abatement program's pretty good, but it might be worthwhile to have a guy,
I'm all for it.
yeah.
And we're spraying early in the morning and about 9 o'clock at night. So,
Does it kill the gnats as well?
no.
He-
I wish someone would find something that kills them.
Me
I
too.
really do. But right now, this is mosquitoes.
Okay.
Avon Skin So Soft.
It doesn't
For
work.
baby.
No gnats for 20 minutes and spray again. $12 a bottle.
If it's dripping off you, then it works.
Just get a bee suit. You'll be good.
You also lose weight.
Does anybody have any questions for Jeff?
Thanks, Jeff.
The street sweepers, though, it's up. It's meeting your expectations?
Oh, yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever get rid of the other one yet?
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, they took that when they brought this one. And, well, they drove it over the pass and it overheated before they got to the top of the pass. That's why I shut it down when I did.
The median going up to the park?
Mhm.
That's ours, right?
Mhm.
Would that be something that we ought to talk to the rec center about?
About,
I mean, they're right there.
me about taking it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the last time we visited that, it wasn't a real popular question, but
We'll talk to him. Maybe I'll talk to him about it.
His name is Tim Weber.
What about the Western Slope Koga? Did they reschedule yet? We're talking about maybe the 24th
Lisa
of July?
just got it. It's
Yeah, we-
June 26th now, I think.
that
26th.
was it. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
I'm not working Saturday, Lisa.
Okay, that got rained out. Last Friday?
And yeah, last Friday was scheduled, and we have got the perforated pipe in. We've reran the sprinkler system, and it's backfilled. We turned it on today, and I don't know who ran that system, but there was another leak in it, so JC was fixing that this evening. So, if you look over on the other side to the museum, we're building we took out that culvert. There's a smaller one. We installed a bigger one. We're building a bridge. Wider so 2 4-wheelers can pass, and they can't fall off because we built guardrails there. We got them installed today. So,
Is that a four-wheeler trail?
yep,
That's where the trail's
that's what it's
supposed
designated
go,
to.
not on the highway.
Get them off the highway and kick them off into the park and then onto the trail.
Anything else for Jeff? Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too. Kelly?
Oh, gas usage continues to be on the high side. We had several cooler days this month, so we're still clicking along good this year with that. Index price for May was at $1.84 per MMBTU, so customers are still enjoying the lower gas bills. We kind of timed it right because March was our last month where we had pre-purchased gas, and then ever since March it's been well under about $3.51, I think, was what our gas was purchased at. So timing of that was pretty good. Public awareness brochures were delivered this month. Some of you might have gotten one on your doorknob. We delivered them to every home in Rangeley. It's done as part of our, fulfills a requirement for our public awareness program. Just after we did that, we had 2 line hits within 9 days. So prior to that, we hadn't had any this year. And the first one, they had made an 811 call. The line had been located, but the customer had hired somebody that was using a track hoe, and they failed to maintain clearance, and the gas line was struck. And that only interrupted one gas service. Second one happened when a customer backed over a service line riser at the Silver Stage RV Park. The riser was cut off below the valve, had to be plugged, dug up, and the service line was capped off. The riser was painted yellow and had a 4x4 post driven into the ground next to it, so it was very visible. In both cases, the customers knew better. It wasn't a lack of public awareness, but a failure to act with care. And both customers have been billed for the repairs. So, like I said, in that case, it's not that we're not getting the word out. In those two cases, they both knew better. There's just mistakes were made. And that's what happens. I mean, when you do something like that and it's on you, then you get the bill for the repair. Have to pay for time and materials. Lockout, tagout, and confined space entry procedures have been revised and are being reviewed by members of the safety committee. When we have reviewed them and changes have been made, we will get council approval on those before we adopt new ones. Residential periodic meter changes are complete. The only one we have left is the Johnson Building meter at the college, and we will do that when Sodexo shuts down in July. Valve inspection, cathodic protection testing, and leak survey have all been completed this spring. Heath Jabauer attended a line locating training in Boulder in May. This training is usually somewhere back east, so I was happy to take advantage of him going to it when it was as close as it was. I mean, Boulder, yeah, a few hours, but when you think about how much training is in this area, it's still pretty close. Kindergarten class visited the gas department in May. Kids learned about natural gas, gas pipelines, meter sets, carbon monoxide, calling 811 before you dig, and several other things. They usually enjoy this visit, and they're eager to tell others about what they've learned. Like Jeff said, all town employees have been certified or recertified in first aid and CPR. Those cards will be good for 2 years. This is something that was on last month's, but I don't know if all of you saw it. CIRSA sent a third party to do a evaluation of the town's buildings and structures. This had not been done in some time, so it was past due. And we had made some improvements and additions since this was done last. I haven't seen the results of that. But it's possible that it might increase our property insurance, but it was something that needed to be done because we need to make sure that everything new and improved that we have are covered. And we're going to continue to watch the water level of the rivers. We have a 4-inch steel gas line that's mounted on the underside of the White River Bridge. The gas line should be fine. Even if water comes over the bridge, the only concern I would have would be that if some type of debris, came down the river and the river was high enough that might be maybe a possibility of line damage from that. But hopefully we don't have to deal with that.
How close was it when it was high?
It was within a couple feet Sunday when I was out at Lucero's house because, they're dealing with flooding there in their fields and stuff. And I was out there, to let them know, that make sure the gas line wasn't in their way. But and like I said, the water wouldn't really be an issue. It's mounted under there pretty securely. It would be some sort of debris is what would probably concern me. Or if, God forbid, it would take a lot somehow enough water came down to take out the bridge. I can't see that happening, but, so that's just something we'll keep a watch on. And our crossings at Douglas Creek and Gillum Road are both high enough and they're not even, for some reason, they're not getting it like the river is. So those we wouldn't even have to worry about, even if those flash flood somewhat, but we will keep an eye on that line. So, any questions? Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Kelly. Lisa?
You'll have to back in. I'll just talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's in the item here, the back side of our packets. So the CDOT, they started today, means notice all of our cones and everything, and so they'll be working on our bump out and also the crossings for the wheelchair and handicapped access. If anybody sees or has any problems, they've been very responsive. So I think just let town hall know, or just even stop and talk to them. Like I said, the contractors they hired seem very, very friendly, and are talking to people if they have any concerns. So on Thursday. Thursday, the Water Conservancy District and EIS invited anybody from the town council that would like to come and just talk about the Wolf Creek Reservoir and kind of their battle plan. I put that in your packet as well if you'd let me know, because just if we have more than 3 council members, I need to post that. But I think that's a good time to just hear what they have to say about what their plans are, because it's always a moving target from what I have seen and heard, and so I'm not completely sure, but I think this would kind of clarify maybe what their goals are and timing and maybe funding. I don't know what that is, and we might want to talk about as far as what we will be able to contribute, if anything, because going forward that'll depend a lot on our revenues and what we need to dedicate to the towns. The Main Street Design Workshop is Thursday at 6, and they really would like to have as much community interaction. They will start just doing a design for all of Main Street, and that kind of ties into the Main Street program that Connie and I are working on. And this is the UTA group that will have the college students come in, and like I said, they just talk to everybody and sit down and hear everyone's input about what you think our community should look like on Main Street. So, and then they can try and go back and reevaluate what we can do to improve our Main Street and make it, more beautiful and also approachable to people coming into the community. 4th of July, all the activities are in there. We were also invited to participate in the Aviation Roadshow. There'll be a lot of companies there that, those could be possible people that we could talk to and maybe attract to our community. I mean, I think the college is looking for support for their programs, but I think it'd be a great opportunity for the town. So if anybody can attend that and, just interact with those people, I think that'd be a really good opportunity for us economically. And the senior picnic is on July 17th. You're all invited. The seniors always really enjoy that, and they like to see everyone and talk to you. It's from 12 to 2. Obviously, if you can't, interrupt your day, that's understandable, but they really love to talk to everybody in the town. So if you can't attend, please do come. I also gave you some additional information. If you guys can, tell me if you'd like to attend the Narcan training that the police department is sponsoring on July 2nd. That'll be at 10 a.m. in the conference room. Please let me know. And if we have more than what we can fill, we'll move it to a different room. But I think that's a really good training. The splash in, obviously there's some information in there too about when that is and everything that's going to go on. I added some additional information that wasn't in your packet. The handout for the Northern Pike Angler Harvest Incentive, that was what we talked about at our last meeting, and so that's a flyer that's going to go out in our utility billing this month. Gives some really good information about the actual what you get for that. And I did hear Alden say, and maybe other people have heard that too, they've had quite a spike in fishermen coming to take advantage of that. Agency meeting is tomorrow. I think Connie and I are going to try and attend, but they also sent out their legislative update. You can certainly read through that and see everything that they have been, working on. So I'm sure if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. And then the very last one is a meeting that the Sheriff's Department has posted concerning a gentleman in our community, and that will be on, no, it's on July 2nd. Sorry, I was looking at the date they posted it. And that'll be in the evening, and I believe it'll be at the Early Education Center. So, do you guys have any questions or any other things?
Did you say the Water Conservancy District's doing a special meeting or just their monthly board meeting on Wednesday?
The meeting on Thursday is a special meeting. It's going to be in the morning. That's not necessarily a board meeting. That's just to talk about water needs for Rangeley and kind of how we interact with their goals to move forward with that project.
Do you have a time for that?
I believe they said 7:30.
I was looking through, I didn't see.
Sorry, I gotta find the. 8 a.m. you guys, like I said, will let me know if you want to attend. If there's more than 3, I just need to post that 24 hours prior
Where are they doing it at here? I'm sorry.
at the Water Conservancy
Out there?
building.
Thursday.
So I would,
Thursday the 27th, right?
Mhm.
Okay. 8 a.m.
So technically, I'd have to post it tomorrow morning. So shoot me an email. Even if you just think you might, all I'm gonna do is just post that there'll be 3 or more attending. It does, and if it doesn't happen,
I'm gonna try, but
I'm gonna try as well.
I'd post it, because I'll try also.
okay.
What about on July 2nd for the Narcan?
That's
You'll
the
probably be there,
community
right?
Meeting, so we don't. Is that what you're? Oh, that morning. To me, that's a community meeting too. That's not going to be something that we're participating in. That's just a training.
Okay,
So I don't feel like that is necessary.
okay.
But I would like to know if you're going to attend.
I will not be there.
I'll try to attend.
Any other?
I'm gonna be gone. Sorry.
That's fine.
Anything else, Lisa?
No, that's all I have.
I'll kind of step out of it a little bit, but Erica, would you like to, you want to address the council?
Greetings and salutations. I am the former clerk as of Thursday of this week. I am resigning on purpose. I have a lot of experience doing finance, and I love finance, but I didn't know I left finance or loved it until I left it. And the clerk just wasn't floating my boat. So I really want to thank you guys for giving me a chance from the big city of Denver and working with y'all and getting to know y'all and living in this fabulous town. And it's been great getting to know a lot of the people in the office and out there doing your awesome stuff. So it's been very eye-opening, but it's just not my role, I guess. But it's been fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for helping out with the town.
Of course. It's been a lot of learning, and it's been a good way to kind of find out about your town, kind of getting in behind the curtain, and it's been, I had no idea it took this much people to run a town as well as Rangeley runs, so thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I don't think we have any old business. So item 14, A, discussion action to appoint Maribel Cox as clerk, town treasurer for the town of Rangeley.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Mary Bell Cox as clerk and treasurer for the town of Rangeley.
Second.
If
Motion.
she's willing.
Motion's made by Andy, second by Luke. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, discussion and action to approve the May 2019 financial summary.
I'll make a motion.
Questions on that?
Sorry.
I was just asking if you had any questions. Obviously, you can see our water consumption is down, so we're hoping for some really dry spells soon.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2019 financial summary.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Tyson, second by Andy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, discussion and action to approve a contribution/donation for the CNCC Splash In barbecue on July 20th, 2019.
So I had asked some of the CNCC people to be able to attend, but no one was available. It's a community barbecue that they put on for that event, and they indicated they were going to go to the county for half of that, and they just wanted to know if we would help participate in that meal. So
Do we have any idea how many people are participating in the event this year, as in flying in?
I don't know that. I don't know if Lisa has heard anything.
I haven't heard anything.
And they're looking for 500, right?
And just because we've got a few requests on there right now, that account I believe is in the $3,700 range, and we have a total of $20,000 budgeted. So, and obviously you can see the next one's a more substantial request, but that's kind of what we have out there for marketing that we use for these kinds of requests.
We have 3,700, or we've used 3,700?
We've used 37 of a $20,000 budget.
My only concern is, like, I want to see it grow, but I don't want to just also be buying lunch for the community. If there's, I know last year, would they have one plane fly in? Wasn't it just one? I mean, that's the only reservation I have is, you know, I guess maybe try it 1 year and see what happens, but
We didn't donate to it last year, right?
no,
Did they have a dinner last year?
I don't think so.
I was not in attendance, so I
Or
don't know.
lunch?
I think they had food, but I don't know how that all worked. I don't remember. That's my only concern. Like I say, I want to see events like this take off. So I think early on, I'm in support of doing it. I just want to make sure we're not just buying lunch for the community every so often. You know.
Well, and I think too that if we do support something like this, that it's, and I can see it on the paper that we have, that it's advertised that the lunch is sponsored by Town of Rangeley.
So there is some, you know,
Well, and I don't know if it's any more than this because it's naming off quite a few people, but I would sure, because I don't think a lot of people know what we give back to the community. So I think
Right.
it's needs to be
and
said.
sometimes when you feed them, they're more apt to come out and support an event, so.
Well, that is 100% true in the town of Rangeley. If you have free food, people will show up.
So maybe
It is
that
what
would
it
help
is.
build on the event,
Yeah,
and then we
and
can
that's-
find other avenues for funding of the meal. You know, this isn't gonna be just a constant, you know,
Yeah, that's
annual thing.
that. Like I said, I want to see it. You know, give it a kickstart if we can. Like I'm okay with it. I just something to be cautious of, pay attention to for the future. But yeah. So having said that, I'll make a motion to approve the contribution for the CNCC Splash Barbecue.
Of how much?
Well, of the requested $500.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to donate $500 to the CNCC Splash is made by Andy, second by Tyson. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Motion carries. Item D, discussion and action to approve a contribution / donation to the Park and Rec District for July 4th and September celebrations in the amount of $10,000.
What did we do last year?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
no, go ahead.
We did 10,000 last year, but it was my understanding, but I didn't have direct conversations, that was kind of to help cover some of the fireworks that we kind of did a lot more of. But like I said, I don't know, I don't recall if this was a agreement verbally made with the rec center that we would continue this every year. And when I talked to Linda, I said, so is that for just the fireworks? And she said, well, it was my understanding it was to help cover the cost of the events. And I do remember Tim coming in and talking about, you know, they also do Christmas Fest, which they don't require or ask for funding about. And I'm trying to see.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, I think.
So there's 3,000 there too. So the total cost of those events, you know, is 26, you know, over 40,000. So
I think they did give us a breakdown in here, right? I remember looking
There
at
is.
that.
Just what their budget is, right?
yes,
I mean,
It's Page 16.
So my thought on my thought on it is Septemberfest. I think with the things that they do in the park and the parade and it seems to me like there's a lot of stuff going on for that weekend, for that 4-day weekend. And I'm not saying that they don't do it for the 4th of July. My opinion is that the $5,000 for Septemberfest is well worth it because it does. They got a lot of manpower and stuff like that into that weekend. But I also think that we ought to, if we're going to donate $10,000, I think that we need to split it up. If we decide to give the full $10,000, that we try to split it up into
Break it out the way we want.
the Christmas party or the Christmas fest also. And if that's what you guys think also, if 10,000 is worth or is what we'd like to donate.
Lisa, how close do we get to utilizing all of the donation budgeted?
Oh, we usually use it all because we'll have more requests this year. I mean, back in the rodeo, there's usually at least 2 or 3 others throughout the year. We will use it all.
So we're at 4,250 right now.
Right. And so that'll take us up to almost 15 with that contribution. So we only have 5,000 left for the remainder of the year for any other entities.
Are we expecting numbers from these other people that are going to be requesting, like for the rodeo? Like, is there?
I think they asked for.
I think they
1,000.
usually like 1,000, or that's what they request. And like I said, I think the reason the Elks are doing a lot of their events because usually they come and ask for help with, the Christmas baskets and I was trying to think what the other thing was that they
Gifts from the kids.
the children's gifts. I would have to go back and look, Luke. I can't. But like I said, obviously there's another one in here too for the resource pantry. If we give to one, is the other one going to come and request funds as well?
Mm-hmm.
So what is? I wish I had the July 4th activities.
It's
Schedule.
in the board package.
Is it?
Might be on our digital
Second
one.
floor.
Oh, here it is. Can we take a minute real quick?
Probably their biggest expense is the
25.
fireworks, obviously. Is the fireworks though? They use that for Septemberfest too.
It's
Last year we
split
did.
up.
'Cause we-
Well, it's Septemberfest last year because of the firemen.
Right.
And there might be a little bit left over. I'm not sure right now because we had some left over from last year.
One thing I struggle with this is, like, it's a taxpayer-supported entity that is, their purpose is recreation and that. So it's kind of like double dipping into the taxpayers. And I'm struggling with that a little bit. I know we've done it, and I know we need to, but it is double dipping.
Well, I don't see how it's double dipping. It's all taxpayer dollar. I mean, it's not that we're paying. The fire district does it also. We donate $3,500 a year to help out with dispatching. So I don't see how it's not like we're having to pay the same tax twice.
Well, they're taking
They're-
$10,000 out of the town's budget and putting it into the rec centers, so therefore they're taking what the rec center's doing as well, therefore it's double dipping. It is, it's just, I mean, I understand your point that it happens, but it's something
I
we
don't
have
see
to,
that.
Yeah.
something we as a community, maybe you guys in your meetings, we start addressing that is saying like, if you guys are gonna run this event, run it, and we'll try to separate out some of the things so we're not, you know what I mean, the town isn't paying money to the rec center to run an event. That just seems silly to me. You know, are you following? I'm not trying to shade anything, just saying like, it seems to me it's something that we can do to where it's not the rec center coming to the town and asking for money, or whoever, the hospital coming to the town and asking for money, or the fire district coming to the town.
Well, and I
asking for money.
like Connie's point of view. I mean, that's why she's also working with the Elks instead of, you know, coming and asking for contributions, donations. She's like, let's create events that you can do fundraising or sponsorship. I mean, Connie's really good about doing that, and maybe that's what we need to do too, is work towards those ends to try and get sponsorships for those type of events as well.
And yeah, I was gonna
I
say
mean, going forward, obviously this year it might be a different decision, but
one of the things I guess I'd say is that I really like, the fireworks to me are something that are slightly different, and I don't know, I can't explain why I think that, but I do. I see the fireworks as being something the town can contribute to, but like as to run their events and do that, I that's where I'm seeing the difference. I know that sounds odd, but so in other words, if we are specifically donating to the fireworks, I don't have as much of an issue with it. Does that make sense? Than running up an event. I guess I'd say this might be why, is because traditionally the town has sponsored the fireworks, been a sponsor to the fireworks for,
not very much.
well, for
Prior to last year, we
Oh,
only
really?
contributed like probably 1,500 or a couple thousand.
But
Last
we
year
ha-
was the first year we ever did anything to that amount.
but we have
We have
supported
always put in money towards
Right,
fireworks.
I'll just throw those thoughts up there. Let you guys ponder them. I mean, it's a board decision, so.
I mean, the fireworks themselves, and then there's the color run, and then the eating contest that they have, the rib cook-off, the pie contest, inflatables in the park. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they have going on, but I think the surf and turf pretty much is self-sufficient, and also night golf. So I mean, they're still doing a lot of stuff for the community.
100%.
For the days.
I 100% am not in disagreement that they're not doing a lot.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm saying, from a funding perspective, that's where I'm saying I'm having issues with it, because the town's taxes the community to pay for roads, for gas, for this, for that. They're taxing the rec center to do activities for the rec district, for the beautiful rec center. Does that make sense?
So it does make sense, but it's still they only pay a certain amount of taxes. Where I mean, they're paying taxes that goes to the town for a certain amount of money, and they're saying that money goes to the town. Well, the town has taken that $20,000 and said, we're going to set it aside for this. Nobody's ever paying any more taxes on that $20,000. It's still taxpayers' money that the town's setting aside.
Right, and I could say that would just add to my point. If you could put that $20,000 into other entities of some other sort of, like, the food bank, something like that aren't taxpayer supported. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think that's if we go with that during budget time, when that's what we set forward, that's what we want to do with it, then I think that's a good deal.
I guess ultimately I'll just come out and say it. I want to make sure the rec center's not just coming to us every time they need money.
Well, and possibly
That's
I
what it
should have
looks like.
also requested their revenues to see where their bottom line
Oh.
ends up every year.
I'm sure they're like every district, right? Like they're hurting for money too, but it's, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure we're not
It's laterally
becoming
everywhere. Yeah.
Absolutely, that we're not becoming the lifeline to everybody else because our budget is being managed well. So that's
Well,
ultimately.
eventually we won't be the lifeline.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If we don't make responsible decisions now, that's what you look at in the future and say, well, maybe if we wouldn't have spent all this back then. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, let's just make sure we're not gouging ourselves in the future.
So maybe we just give them less than they want.
We can also approve what we'll do for the 4th and then just revisit it closer to September Fest and see if we have any other.
Maybe Tim could come talk to us about it.
Yes, that's totally at your guys' discretion, but
Well, I'm all for giving money for fireworks. Make kids love fireworks. Everybody loves fireworks for the 4th of July. I'm all for it.
I would just, I'm not going to make the motion, but my suggestion is if we, just looking at the numbers from last year, if we donate another 3,000, that we split the 4th of July and Christmas Fest up. We don't have to split it evenly up, or we don't have to give that much to either one of them, but I would think that I'm not in favor of giving $5,000 for the 4th of July, but something at a lower rate
So 3 and
interests me.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. You're saying split them up into 3 different things to make sure, or is that?
If we're going to give $10,000, and that's something that the council is an agreement that we're going to give, which doesn't have to be, that we split it up. I mean, we split it up in a different way rather than saying 5,000 here, and then we get asked for Christmas Fest to donate another 5,000.
Okay.
And it doesn't even have to. It doesn't. Those numbers are just what are asked of us, you know. And then you, like you said, you have the rodeo, and then you have the aviation program that came to us last year, and then also the food banks looking for some help also.
And it always seems like we get one a year that's
well,
unexpected.
and we have wiggle room because we didn't hire a marketing person right away. But when we do, we're going to need a budget for marketing, specifically for Rangeley, not just for contributions and donations. I think this year will be fine because obviously we budgeted a whole year of salary, so we'll have some wiggle room on a marketing budget. But that'll be something we have to visit at budget time.
So I'll motion that we make a donation in the amount of $2,500 for 4th of July fireworks, and then revisit everything else later.
I'll second that.
So a motion's been made by Luke to donate $2,500 to the Park and Rec District for the July 4th in the amount of, I've already said that, $2,500, and that September Fest and Christmas Fest will be revisited at that time. Motion's made by Luke, second by Andy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, discussion and action to approve a contribution donation for the Rangeley Community Pantry.
Connie is not feeling well, so she also asked me to kind of talk about what they were looking at. This is obviously their budget at the end of 18. Right now they have about 1,800 in their budget, which they need to go and purchase more supplies. They don't just do food, they also do necessities like shampoo, toothpaste, so they're just looking to try and supplement their budget for items.
Did she have an amount in mind?
I think they were looking for 500 too, but I think they would take whatever.
Do you have it in front of you, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
In the third line there, is that supposed to maybe say Rangeley Town Council?
I'm sorry, where are you looking at?
Third line right now says, we know that Moon Lake Electric.
Oh, are you looking at the letter?
Yeah, the letter.
Oh,
Is that, because I kind of read that earlier and got a little
Yeah.
confused, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's what's going on is because I was like, are they wanting us that Moon Lake to pay for electricities or what? And why is our name on it?
I have no idea. Oh, they're looking for help to pay the electrical cost.
Let me look down because I think she had the budget on there. So
It's on the backside, or should be the next page after that.
So utilities are 145 a month.
And I think she was thinking for the remainder of the year.
Oh, okay.
So are they still, this is Rio Blanco County Food Bank, is that right?
No, this was run through the Human Resource Council. This
So
was, they started this up with a Chevron donation, and they're located in the EMC building, that old EMC
Right, I
building,
know where
believe.
they're at, but is it for Rangeley residents or is it for
Well, I
Dinosaur
think it's
also?
for anybody. I mean, I don't think they turn anybody away, but it's specifically for the Rangeley residents. And I think they started it because they felt like the needs weren't being served by our one that is in existence, which still is being operated as well.
We ought to go ask Dinosaur.
Yeah, I think that they ought to,
too.
they've got a big budget these days.
If they can
I mean, I'm fine with whatever decision, you know.
I think would be a good suggestion to Miss Connie.
Okay, I can do that.
Is this like I'm trying to figure out how this is set up on here, the budget she gave us. You think the 144 is that's
I want to say
monthly
that's
budget?
what their
Maybe gas and
yeah,
electric?
it's real hard for me to read, and I was hoping one of them would be here because they didn't give me a very good lowdown on their budget. But I did ask them that they had right now about $1,800 in their budget, which they need to supplement supplies, so they're running out of money.
Kelly, do you know if we charge them monthly for water or do you know, Lisa?
I don't remember on the EMC building if they're paying the utilities, but they have on their rent. So, do you want to table it until Connie can be here?
I guess I'm okay with donating to it, but I wonder if maybe we could donate utilities to them and then give them give them a cash donation.
Why don't you just let me handle that if we can take care of it that way, and I won't come back to the council for any donation.
Say that electric would be the biggest, because I know they don't use hardly any gas in that building.
Well, and there's not like there's going to be running utilities of any sort, because they're just there to hand out supplies.
I'm not sure about
I was gonna say, probably is just electrical. Because if there, I bet it is electrical, that's why it's higher 1 month.
But can we donate our water, sewer?
No, I'm 100% with you there. Yeah.
Basically, if it gets real cold, maybe
I think that's great.
Something
and
like
then
that,
water
and give them,
basically
Or at least get us
I
$500
bet
beyond
the
that.
electric is the one that's
I think they'll be fine. Let's just table it until the next go round so we can get our questions answered.
Is there any other questions that anybody wanted to take for that? Take to Connie? So we'll put item E under old business for next meeting. So informational items, CDOT, I think there's a picture of what they are planning on doing. I thought for some reason that this was like years out when they were going to do this.
No, they've been meeting with us for probably the last 6 months. I didn't know for sure when it was. I thought it was going to be more in August. So they're going to take those corners off, which is a little sad because we're going to lose some trees.
Corners white.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So they can make those corners. We haven't had a lot of traffic as of late, but I'm sure it
As a fair response, this is what we're getting in place of a stoplight for those that wanted it.
I don't think we're gonna get the fair value of what a stoplight.
Oh, I know we're not getting fair value,
Yeah,
but
believe me, I've tried to barter with them a little bit on our crosswalk signs and everything, but they are gonna try and work on Douglas Pass, so I'm gonna settle for that.
are they?
They are trying to get a federal grant, so.
Actually, I heard who told me there's a. I'll check on that tomorrow, but I think there is something on their website you can go leave feedback right now.
No,
To the
and
state.
we're gonna post that on Facebook tomorrow,
Okay.
and it's called, I think, My Transportation.
Yeah.
And they're asking for public input, whether or not
Yeah.
it's just face value or they're actually gonna, consider it and take it to heart, we'll see.
One other thing that the Park and Rec was talking about is their numbers for signing up for the surf and turf are kind of low right now. So if you're going to sign up for that, they're still looking to get a community to buy into the surf and turf for this year.
And make sure they buy their tickets because it sounded like a lot of people thought they could show up.
Right.
And they said that they've had a lot of people saying they're going, but
They haven't
haven't
bought
bought
tickets.
tickets, so they're like,
Pre-order
hey,
their
you
food,
gotta
yeah.
buy your tickets ahead of time.
Ahead.
And I think Lisa's,
We have the town bought 6 seats, so.
I got mine already. Thank you. You guys gonna go?
Got my tickets.
Go.
yep,
Good deal. You're cooking, aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Tyson,
What's that?
surf and turf?
What day is that?
The
The
fifth.
4th?
Yeah.
I might be gone.
Okay.
Still.
I think Lace went over the rest of the informational items. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring in front of the council?
Andy,
Yes, ma'am.
we have a fishing derby on this Saturday.
Okay.
It's a fundraiser for our 4-H group, the Gone Fishing 4-H sports fishing group. We have 10 young children in this group. They range in age from 8 years old to 12, and we have done an enormous amount of community service this year. The kids have gone to educational trips to Glenwood Springs Fish Hatchery. Last fall, they went and watched the kokanee salmon spawn at Sheep Creek Bay. They're getting really involved with the Water Conservancy District. They will be doing fish habitat this winter when they can't fish. And we're trying to really, the fishing's important, but the ecology is even more important. So we're trying to raise some water conservancy people. Anyhow, the fishing derby starts at 7:30 in the morning for registration, and it is a jackpot derby. So we will keep a portion, and then we will give 60% back to our the winners. We have $150 added money to the heaviest stringer, so there's money to be made. And the water quality is horrible at the lake right now, so everybody has kind of an equal chance. and I don't think there'll be a whole lot of boats out there because I saw a tree that was probably every bit of 60 foot long floating this afternoon out at the reservoir. So
Shoot me an email and we'll make sure you're on the sign.
okay, thank you. That's all.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
We can adjourn at 8:03.